Welcome, welcome, welcome. Many of you on the True Word Faith for Life YouTube channel, if you're on the Eastern Standard Time, East Coast, you are having lunch maybe right now. And so I hope that's the case. I hope that you're having something good. I hope that you like it. Put in comments what you're having. And we will, I will be joyous with you if you're having something I like. I've had a hankering for bologna sandwich with mustard. That's what I want. So today, this is going to be a quick one. I know you've heard that before, but I'm telling you, today is the day. You are absolutely going to hear. Let's make sure we have the camera right. Folks, tell me if I am. Tell me if the camera is facing straight. Show me looking straight. That's going to be important. Anyway, let's see here. Let's fix this. Let's see. Sorry about all these troubles. Hey, there's a link in the description that's free and kind of related to this. And I'd love for you to click on that if you haven't seen that before. So today is the price of love. Loving someone. It can be, it can be the most rewarding experience you've ever had in life. But you know what? And I know that if you've ever loved someone, you can identify with this. Loving someone comes with great risk. So I call this love over gold, the price of love. What is real love? What is love over gold? Why do we love? By the way, thank you to the podcast Face for Radio audio only group that's listening to this. Please, if there's any sort of rating system, thumbs up or review or whatever, give me some reviews, especially if you're on the Apple Music and all of that. And I'm on Spotify and all those things. So put me on your playlist and however it works. I don't know how all those things work. Only by the grace of God and Christy of Topsail Insider do I have any idea how any of this happens, because I don't. Anyway, all that said to say this. Why do we love? What is real love anyway? How do we love? How should we love? So this is going to be a powerful discussion today. It's going to be fast, but you're going to be glad you joined. Maybe share this with somebody who needs it, especially now. So here are some of the potential risks of loving someone. Rejection. Now look, this doesn't even have to be romantic love. This can be just love. Right? This doesn't have to be some sort of love that's sexual in nature or anything like that. It doesn't have to be that at all. Not at all. It can absolutely be friends, loving friends, people that you rely on, people that you trust, people that you think are trustworthy. Generally we don't love people that aren't trustworthy. But rejection is it's a very real thing. When you love someone, there's always the risk that they won't feel the same way about you, or at some point in time, that they'll reject your love. At some point in time, they may say, hey, I'm not loving you anymore, or they'll do the new thing now is ghost you. I hate that for a million reasons. Maybe they just won't feel the same way about you. A lot of times this happens when we're young. Love is new to us. It's new to us. We don't know what to do. We don't know how to navigate it. It's this new thing. But sometimes they love us and then they reject us. Maybe you've been on the rejecting side. Maybe you've been on the I'm going to ghost you side for whatever reason. Look, this can be painful. This can be excruciating. I would even say that when you get ghosted by somebody that you love, that profess to love you, man, oh man, I can't begin to tell you how painful and terrible that is. I wish I could explain to you just how utterly awful that feels. And maybe you felt that. You say, wait a second, you loved me, love me, love me. What changed? What was the difference? Why now don't you love me? Why now aren't you contacting me? Why were we so close for so long and then now all of a sudden, I don't even hear from you? This can lead to feelings of heartbreak. It can lead to feelings of disappointment and confusion and saying, what's going on? Also, it can lead to vulnerability. Love often involves being vulnerable, right? To love fully, to love beautifully. It means being vulnerable and opening yourself up emotionally to another person. This can be scary. Why? Because it means trusting someone else with your feelings. Trusting somebody else with your emotions. And being open to the possibility of maybe you're going to get hurt. How about dependence? When you love somebody deeply, you could become dependent on them for emotional support, for fulfillment. If the relationship ends, or God forbid they die. But in this case, relationship ends for whatever reason. You may or may not understand it. You may or may not have the information on telling you why. Or they gave you a, look, it's not about you. It's not you. It's me. You're great. I'm just, retooling my life here. I got to really refocus. I found in my practice 9 times out of 9, and in living life, 9 times out of 10, that's a lie. They got somebody else. They've moved on. That's crushing in and of itself. But you may still feel lost and alone without them, even though they hurt you. Check out my How to Forgive Someone Who Deeply Hurt You free podcast under the live tab. And then under the regular video tab is the audio only. And then also there's a podcast tab. So whatever your thing is, but click on subscribe and hit the little bell and like and share and all that stuff. How about loss? Loving somebody means that you risk losing them through breakups, distance, or even, as I mentioned, death. Listen, I know somebody right now. I know a young lady. Well, she's my age, so she's young. But I know a lady who is an amazing, incredible person. She is. She's something else. She has a lot to offer. And you know what? She's a career woman. She said nothing wrong with that. She said, hey, look, I'm not ready to have a family and children and all that stuff. But then around when she was 41 or 42, she said, hey, my life feels kind of lonely. Yeah, I'm making huge money. I have amazing things, a house I'm barely ever at. I have some friends, but I'd sure like a mate to share it with. And so, but she was afraid of putting herself out there. She realized, hey, wait a second. I helped her realize it, but hey, wait a second. The reason I'm Miss Career Woman, the reason I don't have any interest in any sort of relationship is because I'm afraid of it. I'm terrified of being hurt. You're not alone, by the way, if that's how you feel. But you know what? She changed her mind and she said, well, I'm going to start looking into that, figuring out why I'm so afraid of a relationship. It turned out she was afraid of loss. When she's 52 years old, she met a guy in one of the work locations, 51. She met a guy in one of the places that she takes care of around the country. And she said, I really like this guy. I want to see this guy more. And so she dated him and dated him and dated him. And fell in love, and all of those things. These were huge things. And she was very well established where she lived. But she traveled all around the world, and you know what happened? They fell in love, and she made arrangements to move to where he lives, all the way across the country. She said, "Man, I love you. I'm gonna make this change. It's gonna be huge, I know, but I'm gonna make this change." It impacted her career. She said, "I'm gonna do that." She got everything all set to move, sold her house, hired up the moving company, loaded up all of her worldly goods, and when she was fixing to leave the driveway, the fellow that she was fixing to drive all the way across the country for sent her a text message and said, "Don't come. I've changed my mind. I can't do it." I will tell you, she was on the brink of suicide. It was the most shocking thing ever for her. I know another person that was in a similar situation. She was preparing to marry a guy, and then last second he said, "Look, I not only don't want to get married, I don't want to see you anymore. I don't want to have anything to do with you." Out of the blue. She had some serious mental health issues, and you know what she did? She tried to kill herself once, didn't work. So she hopped in her car, she drove to a bridge high enough to kill herself, and she killed herself. It can be devastating. It can be devastating. Breakups, distance, death. This can be one of the most painful experiences in life. Well, how about sacrifice? Look, love requires a sacrifice. It requires sacrifices. Maybe it's giving up personal time or resources to support the other person. This can be a difficult balance to maintain. It's hard. How much do I give to you without taking from me? How much is me giving and how much is me taking away? Gosh, I don't know. You have to have balance. But you know what? After a while, maybe if you get out of balance and it's all you given and all them taken, this could lead to feelings of resentment or dissatisfaction if the sacrifice feels too great for you. And you know what? Despite these risks, a lot of people believe that the rewards of love outweigh the potential downsides. I know. The rewards of love, they believe the rewards of love will outweigh the potential downsides. Love can bring such great joy, companionship, emotional support, and it's often a vital part of a happy and fulfilling life. Look, I'm going to tell you personally, I love my friends. I love them. I love my wife. I love my friends. I love Jesus. I love my church. I'm telling you, if you're one of my friends, I'm telling you right now, I pray to God you know how much I love you. I pray that I'm the type of person that makes you feel loved, truly, truly loved and valued. So critical to me, so important to me to love my friends, to love my family. I love my children. I love my son and I love my daughter and I love my son-in-law and I love my little baby, grandbaby Will. Papa loves you. I love the little baby that's growing inside my daughter's belly, grandbaby number 2. I love them. I loved my daughter before she was born. I have never experienced that. She's my oldest. I've never experienced that in my life. Love something before it's even born. I'm telling you right now, that love overtook me. When she was born, I was overcome with emotion. I was like, wow, how could I ever love something this much? You know what? I love my family. I love my sister-in-law and my sister. I love them. They're all I got left. I love my cousins. My cousin Dave, he's an absolute, I would send these to him, but he doesn't do technology. He's an amazing, awesome human being. I love him. I loved my aunt and uncles. They're all gone. I love them, especially my Uncle Charles. He was my favorite of all time. Love. Love is amazing, and it can make your life so vibrant, so colorful, so rich. So love over gold. I've said that a few times, and maybe you don't sync with what I'm putting down over here. Take love over gold and mind over matter to do what you feel that you must, or the heart that you hold can fall and be shattered and slip through your fingers like dust. Let me read that again. Take love over gold and mind over matter to do what you feel that you must, or the heart that you hold can fall and be shattered and slip through your fingers like dust. That was written by Mark Knopfler. It's the lyrics to Love Over Gold. It was copyrighted by Straight Jacket Songs Limited. I used to listen to this album when I was running. I used to run all the time as a teenager. I used to run to Lewis, used to run to Rehoboth, used to ride my bike to Lewis, I've ridden my bike to Wilmington, Delaware, 90-some miles away and back. But I would listen to this on a Walkman. Remember those Sony Walkmans? I had one. I would wear that tape out. I used to have to buy 2 or 3 tapes because I knew I was going to wear them out. I just wear them out. But I listened to this album, and when it came to Love Over Gold, it tripped me up a little bit. I would run for an hour or two or ride my bike for an hour or two or more, and this album would just play in a loop. But this song, Love Over Gold, it stood out to me, and I thought, man, let me write a little something about this. This had such a profound impact on my life. The phrase, take love over gold and mind over matter to do what you feel that you must. This is a statement about prioritizing what is most important in life. Look, this lyric suggests that we should prioritize love and relationship over material possessions and focus on using our minds and our intellect to achieve our goals. Taking love over gold means valuing relationships and emotional connections over material wealth, over your success. Look, financial security is important. I don't have any of it, but it's important. That all went away when I got hurt. But I realize its importance, and I don't mean to demean it. I don't seek in any way to demean the importance of planning financially. Look, financial security is incredibly important. It might not be the best sole focus of our lives, and we maybe shouldn't sacrifice our relationships and personal connections in pursuit of money. But I thought I might share with you my interpretation of this song, what it meant to me, what it means to me. Mind over matter refers to the idea that our thoughts and our mental attitude can have a powerful impact on our lives, and that we can use our minds to overcome physical limitations and obstacles. It happens all the time. Handicapped people do amazing things. Amazing things. I'm telling you, love, the power of love and mind over matter moves cars. There have been incidences of, and it's videotaped, of a small woman knowing someone is trapped inside, maybe somebody they love, maybe their baby, and she lifts the car, turns the car up high enough. My son and I, we were on our way to church one Sunday morning, and we saw a car upside down in a field. And a bunch of people standing around looking with their thumbs up there. I won't even say, but I'm an action-oriented guy. I said, come on, son, let's go. And Doyle, without even questioning it, ran over there with me in a muddy field. And I said, come on, we're going to get on this side of it. The car was on the man's head. I don't know what happened. Doesn't matter to me what happened. I smelled alcohol, saw, alcohol containers. That doesn't matter. He's a living human being. I said, come on, Doyle. I didn't care about those people. Those people were standing around just looky-looing. Sadly, even including a Delaware State Trooper. I was very disappointed in that. I know my dear and one of my very best friends of all time, John, would have been so disappointed to see his brother just standing around when we had enough people to lift that thing. Because the guy was drunk. It was pretty obvious, but it doesn't matter. He's a living, breathing human being. He's loved by somebody. He loves somebody. This was early enough in the morning where you could never imagine somebody would be that drunk, but he was. He went off the road, went down a little embankment into a field, and he flipped. Didn't have on a seatbelt. He got ejected and the car rolled over, and it was literally on his head. I said, we got to get this pressure off of his head or he will surely die. Everybody said, oh, he looks like he's dying. I said, come on, Doyle. And we got under it and we pushed and we pushed and we started to lift it. Just two people started to lift it in this muddy field. And as it was lifting, and they were kind of standing there looking at us. And finally they joined in, and then one reached under and said, come on, let's pull him out from under there. And we did. Man survived, believe it or not. I'm not saying I saved his life. That's not what the story's about. But I love my fellow man. He's flawed, I'm flawed. Look, I don't deserve the air that's running through my lungs. I don't deserve the blood that's running through my heart. I don't deserve that. I haven't earned one bit of it. But I love my fellow human being. And it was time to help. Look, mind over matter. Sometimes you can do things when you set your mind to something, you say, man, that is impossible. You know what? Everything is impossible until somebody does it. Sometimes we overcome the physical limitations and obstacles by loving, by setting our mind to it and say, I'm going to do this. By focusing our goals and using our intellect to find creative solutions, we can achieve more than we thought was possible. How about the lyric, do what you feel that you must? Listen, that tells us we should follow our instincts and pursue our passions, even if they might be difficult or unconventional. I know you're sitting there thinking, when is he going to get to Scripture? This is supposed to be a preacher. This is supposed to be a message. Well, it is. Hang on. I'm going to button this up in the end, which this is a short podcast. This won't be long. By prioritizing what truly matters to us, we can live more fulfilling lives. Do what you feel that you must. Listen, maybe the path is difficult. I said this yesterday in my message, the second part of the Paul series. Was it 1 hour and 46 or 47 minutes? If you've got the stomach for it, go listen to it. There's the audio only. It stops where you stop. It remembers. I talked about it. I talked about most of the time God sends us to do things that we cannot fathom as being possible. But I'm telling you, if he sends you, he will equip you. Things may be difficult. Things may be unconventional. But you know what? Prioritizing what truly matters to us. By doing that, we can live more fulfilling and meaningful lives with purpose. I think overall this phrase encourages us, prioritize your relationships, prioritize your values over material possessions, and use your mind and use your intuition and use your gifting from God to achieve your goals and pursue your passions. Look, the second part of the phrase, or the heart that you hold, can fall and be shattered and slip through your fingers like dust. Hey, this is a cautionary tale. This is a warning. Or the heart that you hold can fall and be shattered and slip through your fingers like dust. It's a cautionary reminder that while love and pursuing our passions are important, they also come with risks and potential downsides. I talked about the risks and the potential downsides. The heart that we hold, it refers to the love and emotional connections we form with other human beings. I would even say it extends to your pets. Look, my dog Buckeye is still in my heart. I love Podcast Puppy. I love him. He's a great little dog. Buckeye was the best ever. My daughter had a pup named Joey. He was the tiny little, I don't even think he was 5 pounds. I think it was maybe 3 or 4 pounds. He was tiny. But Joey was the most awesome little Chihuahua you ever saw in your life. He was the coolest little dog. I loved that little dog. And so did my daughter. And one day in a tragic accident, he was killed. And I'm telling you, still devastating. When Buckeye died, we were all with her. She was my dog. She was my left-hand person. I say left hand because she always stayed on my left. 14 years. Man, oh man. And maybe you're thinking of somebody who died. Listen, when my Uncle Charles died, I couldn't go to the funeral. I was working a big case. I could not go to the funeral. And it killed me. It killed me. He was my favorite uncle. Oh man, did it kill me. But I still grieve over him. He gave me a hairbrush when I was 5 years old. I brush my hair with it still today, what little bit is left. I should say I brush my scalp with it. I have other friends that are gone that I still grieve today. They've been gone a long time. I still grieve them. I still grieve them. Maybe you can identify with that. Maybe there's somebody in your life that's coming to your mind right now is no longer here. They're no longer here. You love them. You were emotionally connected with them. You were bonded with them. And then suddenly they were taken from you. Mama Max, I talked about her on yesterday's broadcast. Oh, how I miss that dear lady. Look, love can bring great joy and happiness, but we have to accept that it also involves vulnerability and the risk of being hurt. Look, if we're not careful, the heart that we hold can fall and be shattered, leaving us feeling broken and alone. But listen, there's another message here. There's another message here. Be careful with the hearts of those who love you. You be careful. Be careful with the vulnerability somebody is entrusting to you. Be careful with that person who you know loves you. Because their heart can fall and slip through your fingers and shatter like dust. Look, the image of a heart slipping through our fingers like dust. Man, I think that suggests to me that love can be fleeting and fragile. Look, even if we prioritize love over mere material possessions, we also have to be mindful. We have to nurture and protect the relationships we hold dear, because as much as you love them, they may be just as bought in as you are. I can't tell you the importance of remembering that. I think overall this phrase is a reminder to balance our pursuit of love and our passions with an awareness of the risks involved. We should value our relationships and personal connections, but also be mindful for protection. Look, yes, grief is the price of love, but love is worth it. You have to keep in your mind there is a potential for heartbreak and loss. By taking love over gold and using our minds to pursue what we feel we must, we can find a fulfilling and meaningful path in life. But we can also protect our hearts and our relationships. Look, Dire Straits wrote this song. I believe they wrote it about this very dilemma. And it's called Love Over Gold. I'm going to read you the lyrics. You walk out on the high wire. You're a dancer on thin ice. You pay no heed to the danger and less to advice. Your footsteps are forbidden, but with a knowledge of your sin, you throw your love to all the strangers and caution to the wind. And you go dancing through the doorways just to see what you will find, leaving nothing to interfere with the crazy balance of your mind. And when you finally reappear at the place where you came in, you've thrown your love to all the strangers and caution to the wind. It takes love over gold and mind over matter to do what you feel that you must. When the heart that you hold can fall and be shattered and run through your fingers like dust. Look, Scripture tells us to prioritize love over material things, the concept of loving God, the concept of loving your neighbor as yourself, and being known as believers by how we love one another. They're captured in two key passages in the Bible, loving God and loving our neighbor. Matthew, if you're driving, don't write this down. You're going to playback when you're back at home or wherever you're going. Write it down. Take out your pen or pencil, your little notes on your phone, and put this in there. Matthew 22:37 through 40. Yeshua, Jesus, answers, you are to love Adonai, your God, with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. This is the greatest and most important mitzvah. And a second is similar to it. You are to love your neighbor as yourself. All of the Torah and the prophets are dependent on these two mitzvot. Then there's being known by our love for one another. John 13:34 and 35, Yeshua says, I am giving you a new command, that you keep on loving each other, just as I have loved you. You are also to keep on loving each other. Everyone will know that you're my Talmudim, or disciples, by the fact that you have love for each other. Look, a good life. A good life calls for some risk. Listen, you can't stay on the sidelines and win the game. You can't stay on the sidelines of a tennis match and win the match. You cannot stay on the sidelines of a baseball game. The team can't stay on the sidelines and win. Football, any other thing. You can't stay on the sidelines and win. You have to get in the game, and that calls for some risk. The people who have lost everything, and look, I know and love many people. Many people. This young lady, Seahag Marina, her and her family own Seahag Marina. They've lost it all. They're in there working their faces off. And here comes another one, worse than this one. I pray to God that they leave. I pray that they evacuate. I pray that everybody that can get out of the way of this storm gets out of the way of this storm. I've offered my home to my other dear friend, who for the second time in 2 years has lost everything again. We're not fancy. We have a small house, but we have a bed right there, bed in the other room, bed in that room over there. The people who've lost everything, including family and friends, they've lost everything, all their stuff, but they've lost human beings. They've lost pets. They don't lament the loss of their homes and businesses as painfully as they lament the loss of those who loved them. Those who loved them. And those they love, the people who don't know these people, but have surged to the devastated areas to risk their own lives to save whomever they possibly can. Many of them are risking losing their own jobs, their own businesses, by being there and helping people they don't know. Why do they do it? I'm going to ask you something. Listen, can you imagine somebody taking up from their house, from their business, from their job, and loading up their car with canned goods they might have, dry goods they might have, extras, whatever, or depleting it, saying, hey, we can go buy more, but these people can't get it. And they put their boots and they put their chainsaw and they put whatever they have in their vehicle and they drive to this devastation. Thank God they do it. The federal government, FEMA, is not. There's some FEMA there. Don't believe the lie that they're not there at all. But they're woefully unprepared. And now we learn they're underfinanced because they've given our money away. They've given our money away to people who have broken into the country, who they've invited in. I want you to think about those people that are risking their lives on those helicopters and those 4x4s and those donkeys and on foot walking into unstable areas where there's still landslides. And they're going up to houses and they're knocking on the door and they hope they find somebody alive inside. But how many times, Tim Kennedy talked about it on the news today. Tim is one of the people I talked about in the last message. You should listen to that. It's free. He talked about it. I've been in this place. I've walked up to houses where the smell hit you before you even got up onto the step, before you ever knocked on that door. You'll never forget the smell of death once you smell it. So then it became a dignified recovery operation. These people are doing this. They don't even know these people. They're not getting paid. They're using their own money to do these things. They're risking their lives for people they don't know. They don't know these people, but they've surged to these areas to risk their own lives to save whoever they possibly can. Many of them are risking losing their own jobs, their own businesses, by being there and not being home, running their business. And they're helping people they don't know. Why do they do it? Why do they do it? I'll tell you why. One word. Love. Are you willing to take the risk? Shalom. Shalom.